I feel that way. I feel like it's the best thing ever if you understand how to use social in the world today, because it allows us to connect with people. I mean, the simple fact that I'm standing here in front of you today is only possible because of social media. But I also think it's the worst thing if you're using social media the wrong way, but if you're relying too heavily on social media. And I think sometimes it's easy to fall into that trap, to trick ourselves to thinking that if we just keep doing live videos and we show up on Facebook and Instagram and Snapchat and Pinterest, that all of our troubles are going to go away and eventually we're going to have the business and the life of our dreams. And I think sometimes we use social media as a crutch. And it's at the expense of our own personal development. Because how many of us have realized that being successful in a business like this, it really has a lot to do with your own personal growth? Have you figured that out? I heard it said this way, that this type of a business is actually nothing more than a personal development program with a compensation plan attached to it. That's right, because what happens when we first join our business? All of our insecurities about ourselves, all of our self-doubts, like all that yucky stuff that's inside of us that we don't like, it comes to light when we join a business like this. It's almost like a spotlight gets shine on all the stuff about yourself that you don't like. And we're forced to have to become better, and to the degree that we do that, usually we have success in our business. But social media, sometimes it's easy to hide behind that computer screen. And sometimes that comes at the expense of us growing into the person that we need to become. So I'm going to teach you some things today that not only will help you be better at social, but my goal is to help you become a better version of yourself. Because at the end of the day, all the social media strategies in the world are not going to take the place of you growing and evolving as a human being. And that's what we're going to be talking about today as well. So let's talk a little bit about social media. I want to share with you a kind of the evolution of my business in my early days. You know, Tori had a lot of great things to say about me, and you know, I was fortunate enough to have some success in my network marketing career, but it didn't start out that way. My first couple of years in a business like this were a miserable failure. I wasn't able to recruit a single person my entire first year in the business. So for those of you that are in the audience today and you're struggling, you're feeling a little discouraged, you're wondering, is this really for me? I can relate to where you've been because I've been there. But what I found was this. One of the causes of my struggle was around this limiting belief that I had around money that I want to share with some of you today. See, I was brought up in a network marketing company. This is I'm going to date myself a little bit. This is even like pre-Facebook being Facebook as it is today. And I was brought up in a company where it was very old school in the way that we built business. You know, it was very face-to-face. It was all about relationships. And, you know, that's really the way that it should be, because this is a relationship business. But our entire business model was built on meetings and face-to-face. Social media was not a big part of what we were doing. And what I didn't realize was that for a very long time, I had this limiting belief about money that was causing me to self-sabotage in my business. And this is what my limiting belief was. I would see all these people in my company that had massive success. They had the big businesses. And I can remember in my early days just saying over and over, I wish I had more success. I want that big business. But deep down inside, what I didn't realize is I had this resistance. Because I equated being more successful with working harder. Doing more meetings. That was what my mentor used to tell me. You need to do more meetings. You need to get out there. You need to meet more people. And I had this internal struggle because on the outside, I'm like, yes, I want to be successful. Yes, I want to make a lot of money. Yes, I want all the rewards and the nice things that come from being a leader in a business like this. But deep down inside, I had this struggle because what I wasn't sure was I willing to do what it took to get there? Because I thought being more successful was just working harder. And I'm like, I'm already working hard and I'm not nearly where I want to be. So you're telling me I have to work even harder to get to where I want to go? And for years, I had this struggle inside. And I never understood it was one of the reasons why I was not seeing the success that I wanted. And then I had this realization. It was years ago that working harder has nothing to do with making more money. And I discovered this thing called social media. And specifically, I discovered this thing called live video, which many of you have discovered as well. And I've seen my life completely transform over the last couple of years when I was willing to embrace this thing called social media. And I finally realized, because this is what I used to think, that social media was really taking me away from building relationships with people. And I used to look at people that were using social media, and I used to be like, man, they don't get it. This is a relationship business. This is about being face to face. And I realized that social media wasn't taking me away from that. It was actually a way for me to scale the relationship building process. It was a way for me to be able to reach and impact more people. And over the last couple of years, my life has completely transformed and changed, and it's because I now understand this simple formula that I'm sharing with you today. Here's what success is a function of. Number one, the amount of value that you put out into the marketplace every single day. And number two is the amount of people that you can serve on a daily basis. The amount of value and the number of people that you can serve on a daily basis, that equals your income. It has nothing to do with working harder. A lot of you are already, how many people are already working hard? Right? You're already working hard. What you need to do is start working smarter. And when I realized that social media was a way for me to scale the impact that I was making, reach more people, that to me was the secret to success. And that's what I'm going to share with you today. I'm going to teach you how to add value to people through social media and how to not just make a ton of money, but how to focus on making a massive impact. Because, you know, when I was first contacted by your organization about this event, I already had the pleasure of working with so many of your presenters, your leaders, over the last couple of years. So I already knew what your company was all about. But because you're so focused on mission and purpose, it aligned perfectly with my philosophy. So when I talk about making a bigger impact, I already know this is something that's close to a lot of your hearts. And I want you to start looking at social media as a way for you to do that on an even bigger scale. So I want to introduce you to a philosophy that I actually came up with. I teach. It's not something I gave it a name. I didn't come up with the concept. But it's called the legacy leadership philosophy. And I truly believe that the problem that people in this profession have is they approach their business from the wrong mindset. They have what I call the success mindset. And here's what the success mindset is. It's all about what you can get from your business. It's your own personal gain. It's by the way, this is all we see when we turn on social media today, right? It's people flashing money and the nice cars and the watches and the houses, all the things that you can get from being successful. Now, by no means am I saying I'm averse to nice things. We should have success goals. We should want to make a lot of money. We should want nice things. But if that's the only thing that you're focused on, if that's the only thing that is driving you in your business, then I am here to tell you that you are in trouble long term. Here's the reason why. And I want you to think about this, and some of you might be able to relate to this. How many people in here have ever had a push for a big promotion? Right? You're pushing for that rank really hard. You rally the whole team behind you, right? And it's like you're pushing, and then what happens? 11:59, the last day of the month, you get there, and everyone is elated, and you're out of your mind excited. Have you ever been there before? I've done that many times in my career. How many of you that have done that before have experienced this? You wake up the next morning, you're still a little bit excited. There's a little bit of a just hangover from the effort. But within a day or two, what you thought was going to be the source of all of your joy and happiness and motivation is very temporary and fleeting, and it's gone. How many people have experienced that? And you don't understand because you're like, wait a minute, I'm supposed to be excited because I'm here. I got green status, I got black status, I made it. Everything's supposed to be good, and then you realize, well, wait a minute. I got to do that all over again? Each month? See, if you're focused on success goals, rank advancement, promotion, money, nice things, they will lead you to happiness. But I am here to tell you that happiness is temporary. You're not waking up today, getting out of bed, excited to build your business, going through the nose because of a bonus check you got 6 months ago. See, here's what we must learn how to do. We must learn how to not just focus on what we can get from our business, we must focus on what we can give through our business. And this is where the legacy leadership philosophy comes into play. And it's based off of this very simple concept. You see the diagram here. Before you see what you can get, I want you to ask, what can I give? Because what I have learned in my life is that the income that you will earn in your business is a byproduct of the impact that you make in other people's lives. Now, what are most people taught when they first come into a business like this? Just focus on income, what you can get. And a lot of times it's out of necessity because we join the business because we need money and things are not going well. So it's only natural for us to have our own needs in mind. But what happens is eventually we start to stall or fear takes over. Because here's the thing, success, the success mindset is ego-based. And ego is a fear-based organism. And I'm here to tell you, if you're operating from the success mindset just about you and it's your ego, here's why that is a problem. Because your ego is always comparing where you are relative to other people. How many people suffer from comparitis just a little bit? Well, she's so much better than me on live video. Her team is so much better. My people suck. Her leaders are better. I don't have that, right? If you're operating from that mindset, you're never going to be enough. It's never good enough. But here's what I want to tell you. You can make the shift at any moment. Start asking yourself, how can I give more through my business? Focus on making an impact in other people's lives. Whether it's through a live video that you do, you're just sharing information with people to try to make them better, or impacting the people on your team. Don't look at the people on your downline like they're just a commission check to you. They're real people with real dreams that have challenges, hopes, and struggles, and it's your job to serve them. See, all of you are leaders. Yes, that's why you're here. One of the things that I learned about leadership is it is not a right. It is a responsibility. And there is a difference between a top earner and a leader. Just because you're a top earner doesn't make you a leader. Now that hits hard sometimes when people hear that. But I am telling you, you do not measure the worth of a leader by their commission check. You measure the worth of a leader by their heart and their willingness to serve people. Leadership needs to be earned every single day. So if you shift to the mindset of what can I give, and you look at social media as a way to scale that impact, here's the magic. Instead of being happy when you're focused on others and impact and giving, it leads you to fulfillment. And when you feel fulfilled by the work that you do, that's the secret to long-term success. That's the thing that will keep you doing it even when you don't feel like it. It is the difference between liking something and loving something. How many people here have children? So Tori shared with you, my wife and I just had our first child, baby Grayson. He's 7 months old. And this is very present in my life now, the difference between liking something and loving something. So anybody that has kids, you get this. There are moments, like I love my son 100% of the time. But I like him about 90% of the time, right? Certain moments at night when he's not sleeping or having one of those days.
Oh, yeah.
But what do? It's not like I'm like, well, I'm done. This father thing's not for me, because he's my son. I love him. I'm fulfilled by being a parent, so I do it even when I don't really like it. And that's the difference with some of you in your business. You're inconsistent. You're not showing up every day doing the hard work because you've not tapped into something deeper. It's all surface. This is what legacy leadership is all about. It's teaching people how to make the journey from what I call success to significance. Success is about you. Significance is about other people. And what I have learned is that the moment that you taste significance, success will never be good enough again. So what really holds people back? What holds people back from putting themselves out there on social media? What holds them back from doing live videos? What holds people back from stepping up and being the leader that you know you need to be? I want to share a quote with you. It's one of my favorite books that I've ever read. It's called The War of Art. Has anybody ever read The War of Art, Stephen Pressfield? Great book. You don't have to read it because I'm going to give you the quote that basically summarizes the whole book. Here it is right here. I'm all about saving entrepreneurs' time. Most of us have two lives. We have the life that we live, and we have the unlived life within us. I remember the first time I read that, it was one of those moments that I literally had to put the book down and I just said, wow. Because here I was, when I first read this book, I was years into my network marketing business, not having the success that I wanted, questioning. I remember I used to go to events like this. We used to have these national events 4 times a year in the company that I was in. And we would travel all over the country. There would be 10,000 people in an arena just like this, bigger than this. And I remember the first couple times I went, I was excited. It was great. I used to love hearing the success stories, right? How many people love hearing the success stories? You're the new people. I'll get to the other ones in a second. And I would go to these meetings, but I wouldn't be having success. And I could remember I got to a point where I would literally go sit in the back of the auditorium with tears in my eyes. Because I didn't understand, why was it not happening for me? Like, I'm working hard. I'm a good person, right? I used to get excited for the success stories, and then I'll be honest, I used to hate them after a while because they weren't me. And I know what that feels like. And I remember reading this quote and having this aha moment that the reason why ultimately I was not where I wanted to be is because I didn't believe that I deserved the success. I didn't believe that I really had what it took to be successful because I was operating from this wrong mindset. And here's the message I want to deliver to all of you today. Whether you're crushing it right now or whether you're like me, struggling in your business, questioning, do I have what this takes to make this work? I don't see it in myself. I want to say this to you and I want you to hear this. Every single one of you has greatness inside of you. Every single one of you has an unlived life within you that is waiting to get out. A life that is so much bigger and better than anything you could ever dream or imagine. You don't have to be anybody but yourself to be successful. If there's one thing that I want to do today, I want to give you permission to be yourself and be successful in this business. You might not see it yet, but I'm telling you, it's in there. That greatness is inside of you. It is literally waiting, clawing, wanting to get out. You realize there's a reason why you're here. This is not an accident that you're in this audience right now. Do you understand that? Everything in your life has brought you, every decision you have made, good and bad, has brought you to this auditorium today. And you realize that you're not normal being here. Do you get that? You understand, it's not, some of you have literally traveled from another country to come to a meeting, a business meeting. This is normal people don't do this. Like your friends think you're crazy, don't you? And you know what? You are crazy. That's what makes you so special. You're weird. You need to learn to embrace the inner weirdo. It's funny, I always get the biggest applause when I call people weird. Like you cannot, there's no other auditorium that you can do that than a network marketing audience. But I want you to understand this. It's there, it's inside of you. Now what does this have to do with social media? It's got everything to do with social media. Because social media is something that really represents our unwillingness to see our own greatness. And this is the thing that so what keeps the unlived life within us from being realized? It's fear. And I want to talk to you about fear. And I want you to start looking at fear in a different light. See, I've learned this in my business. Your biggest fears, if you're willing to stop running from them and playing small in your life, and you start moving towards them, will become the source of the biggest breakthroughs in your life. Winston Churchill has this quote, I love it. He says, fear is a reaction. Because what do most of us do? We feel fear and we react. Oh, I'm not doing a live video. Wait, you want me to present in front of the room? You told me I never have to present, liar! You want me to be a leader? You want me to prospect someone that's successful? We react, we play small. That's what fear is. But Churchill also says, fear is a reaction, but courage is a decision. And I want all of you today to decide to start doing the things you already know you need to do. Look, you don't need me to come here and say, okay, so here's my presentation. You need to prospect more people. You need to do more live videos. You need to present, right? You're like, oh yeah, thanks for bringing this guy here to tell us what we already know. You know that. But why do you not do it? Or why don't you do it consistently? It's because of fear. Look, one of my greatest fears almost my entire life has been public speaking. True story. I am an introvert by nature, right? And I was afraid of public speaking my entire life. And it wasn't until I joined a network marketing company and was literally physically forced to get in front of a room in front of like 30 people on a small little Saturday training in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania at the airport. And I remember that feeling, being forced to the front of the room, that overcame me, this physical feeling that I remember thinking, the only thing I could think is that this, as I'm being shoved to the front of the room, this must be what it feels like when you die. I couldn't describe it any other way. And I got in front of that room, and this is not like I sucked. It was terrible. But I did it. First time in my life I ever did something that I was so afraid of. And here's what's so powerful about this. And this is what I want to share with you about fear that's even more important to understand. Sometimes we fear the things we do for a reason. Because our fears, our greatest fears, are oftentimes simply a reflection of the greatest gifts that we have inside of us. and our fears actually lead us down the path of our true purpose. But we never discover them because we run from them. And here I sit today, speaking to all of you, doing something that 10 years ago, I would have told you that you were crazy. I never knew I had this gift inside of me to inspire people with my story of struggle and my words. And I'm sharing this with you because I want you to think about, what are you fearing the most right now in your business? Are you fearing being a leader? Then I would say you're born to lead others. Are you fearing getting up and speaking in public? Then I'm here to tell you, you were put on this earth to inspire people with your story of struggle and challenge and adversity and persistence. You need to thank God for the challenges and the trouble, because that's what's going to make you such a great leader when you get on that stage, when you have that big team. But we have to look at fear differently. Here's what keeps us, though, from facing these fears consistently. I want to introduce you to a concept called creative interpretations. Here's how this works. Every time we face a fear in our business, something live video, leadership, prospecting, doesn't matter, it's all the same. What we do is we automatically go into story creation mode. And we do one of two things. We tell a story that causes us to not do the thing that we're fearing. That's called a red light. And we're very good at creating red lights in our business and in our life. So here's a red light. Well, somebody's telling me do a live video. And automatically we go into a story. We say, well, my hair doesn't look right. Or I don't have the right background or camera, or my makeup's not on, or what do I have to offer someone? Nobody's going to care about what I have to say. Or, well, oh my God, can you imagine how much my friends are going to make fun of me if they see me starting to do videos? We go into story creation mode, and we give ourselves all the reasons why we can't do it, and then we don't do it. And I am here to tell you, if you are stuck in your business, this is the reason why. But see, once we understand this concept, and we realize that all life is a big story, it's just a series of things that happen that we assign meaning to get us to do something or not, you understand that at any moment you can begin to change the narrative of your own life by telling different stories. See, here's how a green light would work. Instead of focusing on all the things that you could or shouldn't do, a green light would say this: well, I've got information here that could help other people. And I'm focused on making an impact. And I know that I haven't been really successful yet in my business, but I know at the end of the day, that should not keep me from adding value to the life of someone else. And if my goal is really to help others and to make an impact, then I have a responsibility to do a video. Yes, I might look stupid. Yes, it might wind up sideways. How many people have done that? But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter, because it's not about me. It's about me helping other people. And in one scenario, you would have actually did what you wanted to do. And then in the other one, you didn't. Now, when you understand this, and the next time you're faced with a situation, and here's what I want to challenge you to do. I want you to force yourself to tell the green light story. So are you struggling with prospecting? And you're like, well, I can't reach out to Sarah. We haven't talked in a year. What's she going to think of me reaching out to her about her business? And she's already successful. Why would she want to do unique? And that's what you do. And then what do you say? Well, I'll reach out to her some other time. And you do that over and over again. The next time you're in that situation, I want you to catch yourself. And always say, okay, red light. Bob told me about this. It's a red light. What's the green light? And I want you to force yourself to tell the story that will get you to actually do it. And the first time you do this, I'm just going to prepare you. You are literally going to be laughing at yourself. Because you're going to be like, I am making up a story right now to just get me to do something that I know I don't want to do. But the sad thing is this. You've been doing that unconsciously for almost your entire life. You've just been doing it on the negative side. I'm trying to get you to do it on the positive side of things. So if we can understand fear and we realize the story that we create around that is leading us somewhere for a reason, therein lies the key to unlock the greatness that's inside of you. So let's talk a little bit more about me. So this right here is a screenshot of the very first video that I ever did in my life on social media. This was in July of 2015.
It's our first video.
Now I want you to notice there's no fancy background. I don't even have a light. I don't have my Diva ring light set up.
It was my first. My first was the
I had a $10 tripod that I got from Amazon. I'm huddled over my desk. I was scared out of my mind when I did this. I had people that I knew that were telling me for the better part of a year, you need to do videos. You should do videos. I'm like, I know, but I didn't want to do videos. So I did. And it took me literally having to go through this experience, give you the short version of it. I spent 10 years in this profession. It changed my life, changed my family's life. But in 2015, I went through let's just call it a character building year. I had 2 separate companies close on me in 7 months. So I sit here and I look at all you and I'm like, man, you all are so lucky. How many of you Unique is your first company? You know how lucky you are to pick a company like this your first time around? See, I was on the other side of the fence. And I went through this really terrible experience. So, and by the way, so the next time someone tells you no and you get frustrated, I want you to think of Bob. Because it ain't really that bad as long as your company didn't close on you twice. But there I was. And I didn't understand. I'm like, why is this happening to me? But what I didn't realize is that everything happens to us for a reason. Life is not happening to us, it's happening for us. There is a lesson for us to learn inside of every failure and every struggle and every bit of adversity. And my lesson was that there was a different path for me to be on. But here I was, scared to death of live video. I got over my fear of speaking in like this because I could see your face. Most of you. But the idea of putting a video out there and then not knowing who was going to watch it or who was going to see it was a whole different ballgame. But I woke up on a Monday morning and I said, okay, I'm just going to do it. I teach about fear and following your fear, like listen to it, and I did it. And there was only 5 people on there. And I had no idea what was going to happen. I didn't know what I was going to talk about, but I did it. And I got through it. And on that video, I said, this was back on Periscope, when Periscope used to be a thing. And I said to the 5 people that were on there, I said, I'm going to be back every Monday through Friday for the next 30 days. I just put it out there. I don't even know why I said it, but I did. And then I got off that video and I had an anxiety attack. Because I'm like, I have to do this 29 more times. But I had this belief that I had this, even before it was called the Legacy Leadership Philosophy, I believe that if you're a good person and you don't quit and you are willing to put yourself out there in the service of others, that you will always win long term. Woo! And I said, I ain't quitting now. I'm at my worst point right now. But I've got this thing called live video. That if I can just get over my fear and impact more people, it just made sense to me. I'm like, I think this is going to work. And I started doing it, not because I was like, I'm going to build a training company. I just wanted to try to find someone else to talk to about my business. And I did a video, 30 days, turned to 60 days, turned to 90 days. I did a video every single day for 6 months. Because here's what I knew. Massive action will get you over any fear that you have. You're afraid of prospecting? You go out there and prospect everyone you know for 30 days, I promise you, you won't be afraid of prospecting anymore. And that's what I did. I was serving my audience. I was trying to add value. And it started to grow. It didn't grow overnight. It was a slow build, but eventually people started coming through consistency. I poured into others. And then this right here, I'm going to share with you. This is a picture of my wife, Shannon. 2 pictures of us. I always put, I'm like, babe, as much money as we paid for our wedding pictures, I am going to have one of those pictures in every presentation I do the rest of my life. Because I'm like, I'm going to get my money's worth one way or the other out of it. But I share this with you because I want you to understand the position that I was in. I had no money coming in. I had to liquidate a 401k just for us to be able to live and survive while I was doing these videos every single day. I wasn't making a single dollar doing them. She told me, she's been so supportive of me every step of the way. But she was like, look, babe, you got to start charging for some of this stuff. But I'm like, that's not how this works. I'm like, I need to give more, right? How different is that than what most people do? Well, how can I monetize? It's not about that to me. It's about, I know that if I can give to enough people. But I was literally at my worst place ever. December of 2015, I barely could even buy her a Christmas present. Now, we were engaged at the time. So how do you think I felt? Here she is, she's hitching her wagon to me, and at the time, I'm 40 years old, and I literally don't even know what I want to do when I grow up. And it was a dark place for me. And I had every reason to not do it, to fall into the trap of just trying to get, but I believed in just giving, putting myself out there. And this picture I'm going to share with you now, this is literally 1 year, almost to the day, from when I did that first video ever on Periscope. This was an event that I hosted in Philadelphia. We had 160 people from all over the world. We had a young lady, Tessa, that came from New Zealand to the event. 160 people from all over the world for a 3-day training that I did, all because I made the decision to do something different. Now, some of you might be like, why are you sharing this with me? Because I'm no different than you are. The decision for me was doing a live video. The decision for you might be something different. Remember what Churchill said. You already know what you should be doing, but it is one decision that you can make over and over again that can alter the course and the direction of your life forever. Now, it just so happens today that we're talking about social media and live video. So what I'm going to break down for you here is exactly the way that I've created what I've created in my business and in my life so that you can do the same in yours. Is that fair enough? Mm-hmm. Okay, let's talk about some strategies. So how do we get started? Well, I'm going to start off with something that might be a little bit different than what a lot of social media trainers will share with you. They might go right into, here's how you do this, here's how you do the video. I'm going to tell you this is the secret to my success, and it is a 4-letter word called love. L-O-V-E. People say, Bob, how did you create what you've created so quickly? Because, my total journey has been more than just the last couple of years. This is like a 17-year journey to get me to where I'm at today. But in the grand scheme of doing videos and stuff, I guess this has happened pretty quickly, which I felt very fortunate. They say, what's your, what do you do differently? And to me, it's very easy. I care more than other people do. I truly am passionate about helping other people create results for themselves. And I have found this, that if you can learn how to demonstrate love to your team, to an audience, that is the thing that makes you stand out in the world today. This is the secret stuff. Now the question is, well, how can we demonstrate love to an audience? Well, there actually is a way that you can do it, and I'm going to teach you right now. There's 3 things I want you to focus on. When you're creating content, when you're doing live videos, when you're posting on social media, if you can focus on these 3 things, I am telling you, you will win 100% of the time. Number 1 is authenticity. Number 2 is generosity. And number 3 is consistency. Authenticity, generosity, consistency. I'm going to break each of these down for you. So let's talk first about authenticity. I've already mentioned this to you, and it's funny, but one of the biggest takeaways that people get from my training is I just give you permission to be yourself. Because how many of us, we look at ourselves in comparison to others, and we try to become this version of ourselves that we think we need to be in order to be successful. And that is not how you become successful. Because I've learned this in the way of authenticity. Different is better than better. You don't need to be better than someone else. You just need to be different. You need to be you. You need to embrace all of the things that you think are bad, that make you you, that are going to make you stand out in the eyes of others. Don't think that you have to water yourself down. You want to compare yourself to someone? Compare yourself to yourself. Say, am I better today than I was yesterday? But be rooted in the fact that it starts with authenticity. Now, what's scary about authenticity? Because that's, you hear it sounds great, just be yourself. But how many of us can agree? It's pretty damn scary being ourselves on video. Just 4 of us feel that way. Okay, cool. Well, then tell us. No, I'm just kidding. What's scary about it, though? See, there's something that exists. It's called Imposter Syndrome. And we all have this question that's running in our head. Am I really good enough? Do I have what it takes to do videos? Or why are people going to care about me? What makes me credible? Imposter syndrome is this unfounded fear that no matter what level of success we achieve in our business and in our life, that people will eventually figure out that we are a fraud. And I'm here to tell you, this will always be a part of your life. I don't care how successful you are, this will always be present. You will always have this struggle with, do I really deserve the success that I want? Am I really good enough? Every time I go, right before I go on stage, I question, do I really deserve to be on this stage? Am I going to have what it takes to be able to deliver, to give you what you need? But here's what I've learned. What I want you to do is this. Yes, you might not be as successful as you want to be. Yes, you might not have every bit of information that other people have. Yes, I understand you might be in a scenario that you've never been in before. But I've learned this. Don't be confident in your skills and your ability. Because if your confidence is tied to your competence, meaning your current level of skills, you will never reach your full potential. Because think about it, in order for you to do something you've never done before, you don't have the skills to get you there. It's always a stretch. So here's what I want you to have confidence in. Your own compassion and caring and love. I get on this stage, every time I get on the stage, I say, I'm not sure if I'm going to have all the right words to say, but I know if I get up there and I open my heart and I care and I try to serve to my fullest ability and extent, that I can give someone else something that they need. And that's what I want you to have confidence in. And I want you to realize that credibility has nothing to do with the rank that you have. It has nothing to do with your certifications, your degrees, your commission check. You don't have to have a huge commission check to add value to the life of someone else. There's 2 things. that make you credible to start sharing on social media. Number one, people relate to you. They like you. They like your unique style. See, I promise you, some people watch my videos and are like, that dude is crazy. I yell, I scream, I talk very loud, I'm very animated. I'm not everyone's cup of tea, but that's okay. Because some people do like that. That's why they watch. Same thing with you. Be yourself. Some are gonna like you, some are not gonna like you. But if someone likes you, they relate to you, that's the first part of the formula. Here's the second part. You give them something that can help them. So you might learn something here today that's new to you. Maybe it's a social media strategy. You're like, this makes a lot of sense. And then you turn and you share it on Facebook. You do a video or you do a post. Now, mind you, you've never even used what you've learned yet. You might not have never made $1 in your business. It doesn't matter. Because if I watch that video and I take that strategy and I apply it in my life and it helps me, here's the magic of this. You just became more valuable to me. I don't care if you've never used it before. I don't care if you're not massively successful. You gave me something that helped me. And the secret to success is doing that over and over and over again. The fastest way to success is to out-teach your competition to the degree that you're willing to share with others. So those are the two things that make you credible. I also want to share this with you. So we're going to get a little deep now. How many people are familiar with this statistic here? 400 trillion to 1. For those of you that are not, these are the odds that you are even alive today. These are the odds that you are even sitting here in this audience. And here's the sad thing about people. We spend our whole lives hoping that we hit the lottery, not realizing we've already won the biggest lottery of our life just by being here. And I want you to understand, you are imperfectly perfect, and you do have everything that you need to be successful. You just need to start by recognizing that. There's this really powerful story of Michelangelo, who, obviously that's the statue of David. And a writer was writing a story on Michelangelo towards the end of his life, and he asked Michelangelo, he said, how do you do it? He said, the statue of David, like, how can a human being create something so incredible? And I thought Michelangelo's answer was so powerful, so relevant to this discussion. He looked right back at the writer and he said, I don't create them. He said, my job is very simple. The statue already exists inside the marble. It's God's creation. He said, my job is just to chip away the excess marble. And I am here to tell you, so it is with you. Your perfect self already exists inside of you. Here's what we all must learn how to do. We must learn how to chip away the fearful thinking that surrounds our perfect self. And to me, there's never been something more obvious than social media that shows us the way that we really feel about ourselves. So we must learn how to get past that. So we talked about authenticity. You are you. That's enough. Here's the second thing, generosity. You must OD on generosity. Be generous of your time, your knowledge, of yourself, showing up, sharing with others. You know, the thing that I've learned about generosity is this. The only way this really works is if it's more than just a business strategy. If generosity is just a business strategy for you, meaning I'll share, but I'm only sharing because I hope that this is going to get me a customer or it's going to get me a new presenter, it's not going to work long term. You must truly come from a place in your heart where you want to help other people. And when it comes to creating content, this is what I've learned. The higher your intention is to serve, the better content you'll create, and the more connected you'll stay to your audience. Remember, legacy leadership is founded on giving. Got a quick story for you about giving and the power of fear, because when we're ego-based and it's all about us, that's when fear comes in. And I can remember the early days in my business when I was first building a team. I was so afraid of being a leader to other people because I thought I was going to let them down. And I remember one of the very first people that I ever recruited was a single mother. And I wish I remember her name, but I don't remember her first name. But I remember this experience like it was yesterday. And I remember sitting across from her, presenting my business to her, and she said to me, she said, Bob, she said, I'm going to do this, but she said, I need you to understand something. You know, I'm a single mom. I have a son. I'm going to do this, and because I'm doing this, I am not going to be able to pay my rent this month. And I'm like, well, are you sure you want to do this? Because think about the responsibility now on my shoulders. And I can remember her signing up, and this is back in the day when we used to literally drive to people's houses to get them started in their business, assuming they lived in a reasonable distance from us. And I remember driving to her house, so scared out of my mind, because the idea of me having to sit down and train her and then lead her, and now all this responsibility, it was terrifying to me. And I remember walking up to the door, I was shaking with fear, going up saying, man, do I really want to do this? And I remember ringing the doorbell. She answered the door. And it was almost like as I stepped through that door, something like just magical happened. The fear that was controlling me, that I had been experiencing all the way leading up to being there, when I stepped through that door, it almost went away. And it almost went away because I went from being so worried about me to now I was completely focused on her. And I knew ultimately that I wasn't responsible for her success because she did play a role, but I knew that in order for me to help her be successful, I had to be completely focused on serving her. And it was in that moment I started to understand this is the antidote to fear, service. If you're fearful in your business right now, focus on serving someone else and watch that go away. And if you can do this through your content, if you can get clear, look, it's not a popularity contest. I know everybody wants views and we don't get the views we want. What do? I'm going to delete that one. I didn't get enough likes in the first 10 minutes. We're so focused on these vanity metrics, feeding our ego. We forget you don't have to have 10,000 views to make a difference in the life of one other person. So this is the key starting out. Now let me give you some strategies. I've been talking a lot about philosophies. Here are the strategies. When we talk about giving, here's what I want you to do. I want you to learn out loud, and I want you to document your life. Here's the analogy I want you to think about, because people get stuck on this. They're like, all right, I get it, do videos. And they're like, but what do I say? Like, what do I say? I don't have anything interesting to say. Well, I want you to stop thinking of yourself as a songwriter, thinking you got to sit down in front of your paper and come up with this incredible, life-changing piece of composition of work. And here's what I want you to think of yourself as. Be a DJ. Now, what do DJs do? They don't, some of them do, but when DJs start out, they don't make their own stuff. They take other people's records and they spin other people's stuff. And what do? They put it together in a unique composition because no one can DJ the way they can because no one is them. No one has their perspective, their stories. No one is who they are. So start out just learning out loud. What does that mean? It means anything that you have ever learned that has impacted you, inspired you, that you found helpful, start sharing it with other people and give the person credit. Remember, that person's not going to care if what you learned was from this dude named Bob Heilig. They don't know me. They know you. Here's where you start. I want every one of you to go to that place. You all have that place. It's that place in your office. Might be a desk drawer. Might be a shelf on your bookshelf. But you know where I'm talking about. It's that place where all your old notebooks go to die. You know that place? See, I see some of you. You're almost at that last page of your notebook. And what do? You just write down, and you get to that last line, that last page. You're like, this is so good. And you write it, and you shut that sucker, and it never gets opened ever again. Yeah. You go home, you're like, yep, that was great. So what do? Open the drawer. Get it out, right? Dust it off. Open it up. And what I want you to understand is this. If you thought something was so important that you could write it in a notebook, it is important enough to share with someone else. Woo! Woo! Look, I want you to understand the gift that you have been given by being a part of this profession. Do you realize that the things that are promoted in a network marketing company, the culture of people growing and becoming more, telling you that your dreams do matter, that you should be more, that you can be more, people that are inspiring you, people you don't even know, hugging you and having fun with you. This doesn't exist outside of this space. Most people don't have a single person in their life that is there for them, inspiring them, trying to push them up, telling them they do deserve more, that they can be more. They have no one like that. All we do is we look in the world, and what do we see? Hatred, negativity. And you've been given this gift. And you're being selfish because you're not sharing it with the people around you. I am here to tell you the world needs the network marketing profession. The world needs you, your friends, your family. They need you to start sharing these things that you've been giving. That's what learning out loud is all about. Here are the 3 words that I teach people to focus on. Educate, entertain, and empower. Now, I'm going to call some of you girls out right now, because you're really good at a part of this. Like, you can do your makeup videos all day, every day. You get like an insane amount of views and people joining, and you can do that without even thinking about it. But where I want to challenge you, what about all this stuff? What about all this life-changing information that can help someone become a better version of themselves, way more than just looking better with their makeup? See, because I'll tell you, beauty is not just on the outside. It's on the inside too. And I'm going to tell you, a lot of you will be really uncomfortable thinking about doing a video where you're not doing makeup. You're actually giving some life or business advice. You're like, oh, wait a minute. Fear. And then what happens? Red light. But I want you to recognize you fear it for a reason. I want to challenge you. Start sharing some of the things you've learned. You have information inside of your head that can change someone else's life if you just open the notebooks up and you start sharing it. And then the second strategy is document your life. And this is what a lot of you are good at. Look, you don't have to already be successful. Document your journey to becoming a blank. I'll tell you, if you go live and you say, listen, you want to start giving business advice or entrepreneurial personal growth, here's what you say. Look, I'm not an expert when it comes to this kind of stuff. Matter of fact, I'm not even nearly where I want to be, but I am on my way to becoming a successful entrepreneur. And I'm learning stuff that's helping me, and I just want to share it with all of you in hopes that can help you. Because think about it, some of you are really good at getting customers, but not so good at getting presenters. And you want to know why? because you haven't positioned yourself as someone that in the eyes of other people can help them become a better version of themselves. They're buying your makeup and all your other stuff all day long because you've positioned yourself as an authority because of your content. But you're missing out on this opportunity to connect with people at a much deeper level, on a personal level, saying, I am someone that if you join forces with, can help you create a better life for yourself and your family. And this is where this strategy comes into play. Become the star of your own reality TV show. There's so many ways we can do that, whether it's Insta stories or Snapchat or Facebook stories or whatever. It doesn't matter. There's no right or wrong, better or worse platform. Just do it. Just start. Bring people into your world. Have them get to know you. And I want to talk to those of you that are already very successful, because I know there's a lot of you in this room that are still resisting this idea of putting yourself out there on social media. I heard this quote one time, hit home with me. Success unshared is really just failure. Now, what does that mean? Well, it means if you've been fortunate enough to achieve success in your company, and you have that knowledge and information and wisdom inside of you, you have a responsibility to share it with the world. And that, to me, ultimately, is what all of this is about. Be the light. Give that gift that you've been given to others. And watch what it does to transform your life and your business. And here's the last part of this formula. Consistency. This is where most people go wrong. Look, every single video you do, every single post, doesn't have to be a grand slam home run. It's just a bunch of just little singles. It's little bit by little bit. It's just being there, showing up for someone else. You don't have to go live every single day like I did. You start showing up, you go live 1-2 times a week, start creating and sharing some posts, people start showing up. Over time, that's how you build trust. But here's the struggle that we have. We go into compare-itis. We say, well, I don't have as many. Did you see how many views she got? I don't have that many views. I only have 4. I had 5 people watch my first video. Like, what if I would have showed up on that first video? I'd have been like, oh, Jesus, 5 people. Sorry, guys, but only 5 of you showed up. And I was like, I'm gonna just give you whatever I got, but I'm gonna save my best for when I get 20 or 30. How do you think that would have worked out? See, this is what a lot of you do. And you do this with your team as well. You understand there are people in here that don't have one person on their team? They would literally do anything to get one other serious person. And you got 5 of them, but what are you doing? Only 5. They have 50. I just got my little 5 team right here. They're not even that good. Well, I'm going to tell you, you're never going to have 50. You have 5 viewers. If you don't honor those 5 people like they are the most important people in the world, because they are the most important people, because they are watching you right then and there. Honor them with everything you have. See, what you didn't see, I had the same level of excitement, enthusiasm, passion. The first video I did to 5, that's how I got to 10. Yeah. Consistently, over time, that's how I got to 20. So you must learn that it is not about the vanity metrics in the beginning. It's going to take time for this to build. And then the question is this, well, how does this make us money, Bob? Again, sounds great. Love, give, sharing, great. How does it make us money? Here's how it makes you money. You're sharing this content, and every so often, you're strategically sprinkling in unique. See, the key to success is this. If every single post is about you pushing or selling unique, you are not going to win in the world of social media today. Because social media today is about quality over quantity. Now, you might be able to get a bunch of customers doing that, but you're not going to attract the type of presenters that you want. See, it's about sharing content that's just generically valuable to help people. Maybe you do some makeup tips. And not every single time, you don't have to sell on every single video. Here's what you can do. You can do what I call conversationally sell, or it's called curiosity marketing. What if you did a video one time and you just were educating people on this latest makeup I am the wrong person to use these examples, but a makeup strategy. And instead of going into sales mode, like most people do every single time, what if you did something like this? What if you weren't so obvious? And you said, hey ladies, look, if you got any value out of this video today, and you're interested in some recommendations that I might have for products, shoot me a message or drop a comment below. And I am here to tell you, if you're not so in your face all the time with people sell, and you start pulling back a little bit, it makes people want it more. It makes them say, oh, I was waiting for the sales pitch, that never came. So pull back. It's called curiosity marketing. Here's the value of doing videos. You'll get more people like and comment and eventually share live videos than any other type of content on social media. So what do? You do a video, it might not even be about anything business-wise. It might just be you with your kids having fun because you're highlighting a part of your life that you're passionate about. We teach people to do the 3 storylines. Pick 3 storylines that you're going to tell with your content. Might be makeup and beauty, might be family, your faith might be important to you. It might be personal development or social media. Pick 3 different storylines. They can be completely different. It has no difference because a like or a comment on a video about your family is no different than a like or a comment on a video about your business. It is an opportunity for you to reach out and say, hey Susie, thanks for leaving a comment. How have you been? Starting a conversation. And if you get really good creating the type of content that I've been talking about, you are going to have so many opportunities every day with people engaging with your content for you to start these conversations that will result in business for you. Talked about curiosity marketing, and here's what I teach. It's called conversational selling. This is so good. So you could be on a live video doing your makeup demonstration, and you could have people start asking you questions. Now this is so much more powerful. If I'm doing an eyeshadow demonstration and somebody just happens to ask me a question about lashes, I can go into conversational selling. This is so much different because if they ask me a question and I start answering and I go, oh, by the way, we've got a great product along those lines. Here's what it does. Here's why it's better. And if you're interested, just shoot me a message or drop a comment below. That's so much different than you saying, here's my lashes, here's why they're so great. So if you're on live and people are interacting with you and they're asking you questions, here's what you're positioning yourself as. A consultant, not a salesperson. If they're coming to you saying, that was a great job on that video, I have a couple of questions, could you recommend any products? You're like, well, let me think about that. Who do you think I'm going to recommend? Obviously my unique products. But conversationally selling, don't just put it out there so much. Hold it back a little bit and watch what happens when people start coming to you. And then the last thing that I want to talk about is this: legacy. We have any legacy leaders in the audience? Oh, okay, cool, awesome. Thank you, everybody. So here's what it's really about for me today. And I'm going to give you a different way to look at this whole social media thing. Do you understand we are the first generation ever where literally our entire life will be documented on social media? Good or bad, it is what it is. There's never been a generation before that is like us. And some view that as a bad thing. I view it as an opportunity. And I want you to understand that you're part of the legacy that you are going to leave your children and future generations to come is the content that you're creating. And I want you to think about, what is your legacy? Your legacy is all of the lives that you've touched during your lifetime. It's knowing that your life mattered. And when I talk about legacy leadership, and we talk about legacy through the filter of social media, legacy leaders look at social media differently. They look at it as an opportunity to leave something to the world. And I'm going to share with you, if you permit me, my whole new perspective on this word. So I obviously have to show you my son. So that's little Grayson. And he definitely got his swagger from his daddy. I said that last time, I was like, you're out of your mind. You got it from me. But that, to me, gives whole new meaning to the word legacy. Here's what drives me to do what I do today. And I mean this from the bottom of my heart. What drives me to do this, spend the last hour with you, just sharing things that I've learned about my life that have helped me, that I know can help others. What drives me to do it is not the money. It's the legacy. It's the thought. Think about it like this. Right now, here's what's in my mind. My son is showing this video to his children, saying that that's the person that changed everything for our family. You know, one of the things that's most like this responsibility that I have is to create this little person, to make him a good man, to make him a good human being, and to know that I can share lessons of life and things that I've learned that can not only impact him, but can impact future generations of my family. You all have the ability to do that. I want you to be the person that when your children are with their kids, long beyond when you're gone, that they are pointing to you and saying, because that person didn't quit on their dreams, even when it got hard, because they were willing to face their fears and believe that our family deserves to live a better life, that we have what we have today. That's what I hope for you. That's what I know will happen for you if you continue this journey. You all are so lucky to be in this room with this company, with these people at this time. The only reason, you have no excuse why you won't be successful. The only reason will be you. And I just want to thank each and every one of you for your time. I want to thank you for being here, allowing me to be here. I want to give thanks to the company for giving me this opportunity. Hopefully, did you get some value out of the presentation today? Listen, thank you so much. I love each and every one of you. And I hope you have a great conference. Take care. Bye-bye.